All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the stream by the Crossroads, where we are doing a Song of Ice and Fire reread. We are on A Clash of Kings, chapter 13 through 15 tonight. And with us tonight, we have a great panel as usual. We will start with the ladies right below me. Miss Martin Muses, how are you this fine evening?
I'm doing fantastic.
Great.
Work, so good times.
It does. It sounds good. Sounds good. Jayne, how are you? Jayne Theory?
Doing fantastic. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Happy to have you. And the one true king, Stannis, Stig, Baratheon Kenobi, Kenobi Baratheon. Welcome.
Lord of Dragonstone, Master of Ships, King of Westeros, Lord of Storm's End, King of the Andals, the Rhoynar and the First Man, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms, Protector of the Realm. All who deny that are my foes. Let no man claim ignorance as a defense. They'll bend the knee or I'll destroy them. The cold winds are rising. Time to hail to the king. Isn't that right, Sedevus?
He's the king of the north. That is fantastic. It gets better and better.
I'm getting better every week, and for some reason I keep adding to it.
Let's say hi to I like to call it our cozy chat for this stream. We have Tina Bojan, a channel member and one of my original supporters. Hello, Tina. She says, "Are you ready for a Song of Ice and Fire?" And then we have the great Makini 90. He is the artist of the fourth wave and one of the best, I would say probably one of the best mods out there. We have Lasso of Truth. I love that name. Hello, all. Runner's here. He has a great channel himself. I got to get him on a stream. We got to do something, either a Wednesday or Saturday, get him in. And while everybody else is rolling in, we will talk about these three chapters. So tonight, hey, Jen, how are you? Good to see you. Tonight, we're going to go over Jon 2, Arya 4, and Tyrion 3. Anything with those chapters that you noticed kind of intertwine, or do you see them as action or setup? I feel like we got one really good action one, maybe a little setup on the others. What do you guys think?
Well, sure. I think that the Jon one was a little more setup than action, but also a nice pause for a little bit of the stuff with the trees and all of those.
Right.
You know, and I love the Tyrion one because I always like when they sit around and talk politics.
It's one of my favorite. So that is one of my favorite things about A Song of Ice and Fire. And I think, Stig, you might agree, other than the difference between a Tolkien story and a Martin story is that idea of the daily politics of the country. And Tyrion is those best chapters for that. I don't think there was a question there. I just thought I'd say that. Good stuff.
The chapter was a bit of both. You know, it did have the action, quite a bit of action, but it definitely is setting us up for the next phase of the story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which chapter was that? I missed what you said at the very beginning. The Tyrion?
Arya.
Yeah, that's a lot of action, actually. And it's done a lot differently in the show than it was in the books. There's the great comic chat. What up, Spork and Stig? Just speaking, not familiar with your topic tonight. Dude, just happy you dropped by, man. Please check out his Danny's channel. Comic chat is not scared to tell you what he believes about something. I appreciate that with him.
Danny's great. It's okay to agree or disagree with him. It's awesome to talk to him.
Yeah. And what I like about Danny too is he sticks to his guns and he will bust balls, but also knows not to go over certain lines. You know what I mean? Like he busted my balls on The Mandalorian, but it was fun. You know, like we disagreed. Well,
yeah.
He busted your balls, but it was enjoyable.
Yeah, it was an enjoyable ball busting. It's like, actually, we didn't disagree. We just disagreed on how we reacted to those scenes. Like, that's what I love about the fandom. Certain people, like, with, let's say, season 7 of Game of Thrones, there's a lot of people I know that agree with me on how crappy it was, but they were willing to look past it because they loved the show so much. Season 8, most everybody just thought was a shitstorm. But like The Mandalorian, there's a lot of people that agree with the things I disliked, but they're fine with letting it go. And I think that's the big difference. I can't let things like that go because I'm anal about certain things. But Darren, like my father before me, is here. Evening all. We have Keck 44 in the house. What up, Keck? And we have Free Folks of the Fandom. He is a great dude, so please check out that channel. How's your channel going? We'll have to get you on one of these if you want to be on this panel, or if we do like one of our theory panels, which we haven't done in a while. We'll have to do that. But we're going to start out with John. And I believe Stig will, Stig, right? You're doing the bastard story.
Yeah.
All right. So we will start with John. Everybody sit back and relax.
Yeah. Synopsis, John 2. The abandoned village of White Tree is dominated by the largest tree Jon Snow has ever seen. The weirwood shades the entire village beneath its canopy. But the size does not disturb Jon as much as the face, whose jagged mouth is large enough to swallow a sheep and contains human bones. Lord Commander Mormont notes that the tree is old, and Jon adds that it is powerful as well. Thorin Smallwood declares he now understands why the freemen feared the Heart Trees when they first came to Westeros and cut them down. Jon replies that his father claimed no man could tell a lie in front of a heart tree, and Mormont agrees his father said the same. Mormont asks Jon to retrieve the blackened skull from the ashes. When he reaches in, Jon finds another skull under it. As he examines the skull, Mormont wishes he had asked why the wildlings burned their dead when there were still a few around to ask. Jon remembers the wight he fought and is certain he knows the reason. Musing on what they might learn if the bones could talk, Mormont orders the houses searched. Jon is paired with Edison Tullett, nicknamed Dolorous Ed. As they search, Dolorous Ed says the dead walking is bad enough, but now Mormont wants them talking too. The gray-haired squire adds that the dead might lie or be full of tedious complaints. Entering one of those houses, Jon notes the dirt on the floor and lack of furnishing and calls it a dismal place to live. Dolorous Ed replies that he was born in such a house, but then fell on hard times. They find nothing as expected. White Tree is the fourth village they have searched, and each has been empty. When Jon asks what he thinks happened here, Dolorous Ed responds that he does not want to imagine. Re-emerging, they find Chet using the hounds to search and cursing angrily. When Jon meets Chet's eyes, he can tell there is no love lost between them. Thorin Smallwood dresses in the late Sir Jeremy Ricker's armor and cloak, and looking more lordly than Mormont, declares there were wildlings here a year ago. Jarman Buckwald replies that much can change in a year. Sir Malador Locke opines that fewer wildlings mean fewer worries. Then Benwick, a 5-foot ranger known as Giant, descends from the giant tree to report a lake to the north and low hill to the west. With 3 hours of daylight left, Mormont decides to head for the lake to make camp. After writing a report to Maester Aemon, the Lord Commander sends Jon to find Samuel Tarly to send the message. Jarman Buckwell's scouts ride out first, followed by Thorin Smallwood's vanguard. Mormont's main force, the baggage train under Sir Malador Locke, and Finally, the rear guard under Sir Aughton Withers, a total of 200 men and 300 horses. As he rides, John exercises his scarred fingers to keep his sword hand from growing stiff and clumsy. He is likely to need his sword hand beyond the wall, especially now. The Black brothers left Castle Black in good spirits, but the silence of the wood has unnerved them all. Not only have the wildlings disappeared, but the game as well. Even the veteran rangers agree that the haunted forest has never seemed so haunted. He finds Sam watering the horses who carry the raven cages. A few of the ravens' shrieks sound like words, and John asks if Sam is teaching them to speak. Sam explains three of them to say snow. Weird sentence. John comments that one bird croaking his name was enough. When Sam asks about White Tree, John gives him Mormon's report. Sam dispatches a raven with a message lamenting that he wished it could carry him back as well. When John asks about him still being afraid, Sam admits he is not as frightened as he was. At first, he could not sleep for fearing every noise was a wildling creeping up to kill him. But now he knows there are no wildlings around. John remarks to himself that 200 brave men left the wall, and only Sam, the self-centered, self-confessed coward, is growing less afraid. Sam says he is sore from the rough living, but he's working on his maps. John jokingly threatens to volunteer Sam as an outrider, which Sam emphatically protests. Sam then admits he hoped they would stay in the village under a roof. John points out that there are not enough houses for everyone and rides off again. Ghost, who has been hunting well away from the line of march, appears as John is swinging wide of the village to avoid the congested column. The White Wolf has been having no more luck than the foragers. John remembers telling Daiwen that their numbers were probably frightening away the game, but Daiwen only agreed the game was being frightened by something. When John rejoins Mormont, he mentions that Sam is teaching the ravens to talk. Mormont snorts that he will regret that, as they make a lot of noise but say nothing worth hearing. They ride in silence for a while before John comments on what his uncle Benjen would make of the empty villages. Mormont continues John's thought that Benjen would have pushed on to find out why, and perhaps someone or something did not want that known. Mormont declares that when Corin Halfhand joins them, they will be 300 men and not so easy for an enemy to deal with. He promises John that they will find them, but John wonders if they will be found instead. The end.
The end. You know, it's crazy because that's synopsis, which we get at Westeros.com or .org, excuse me, a wiki of Ice and Fire. We want to reread their synopsis because they do a great job. It's almost as long as the actual chapter, though.
Yeah, it's pretty much the chapter.
It really is. I mean, it's a small, that's that chapter. It's from on my book, page 203 to 210. That's crazy. You pretty much read the chapter. But Roger Haynes, thank you, my good man, with a Canadian $1.99, a super sticker. Thumbs up to you too, sir. And Darren, like my father before me, wants people to know he's been reading some books, and he found a thing called Sun Tup, and their books are lovely. He said they're very good-looking books. So I know everybody here likes to read, so that's a good. Thank you, Darren.
Yeah.
Actually, pretty. What'd you guys? What's that now?
No, I was just saying, especially good-looking books.
Yeah. I like good-looking books, like pretty books. These are not. These are your old school.
Hey, that's the one I have. That's the first one I got for yeah. But it doesn't say the HBO stuff on it, though.
Yeah, I got book 1 before HBO started. I read that and I started to read the second book. I had it from the library. I gave it back and my wife bought me the 4 volumes. So this was before Dance with Dragons was written. So I got like the same looking all 4 books, all say that Game of Thrones thing on them, but someday I want to get those nice ones you have. But what do you guys think about this chapter? Let's start with Jayne. What did you get out of White Tree in the Village of?
Yeah, I mean, it's really eerie that they would come across this abandoned village, but it was also really cool, the sort of historical aspect of it, where they're wondering what it must have been like when the Andals, I think it was the Andals or the first men or whoever came
No,
up
the
and
first
saw
one.
the
Yep.
trees for the first time, because you can imagine that they were even bigger than this one.
Right.
To extend essentially across an entire village, they must have been monstrous, and you could definitely understand from this explanation why they would have been afraid of them, or at least intimidated by them.
Right.
But yeah, it contributes to the environment and the world building. This chapter,
right? And the picture I had doesn't do it justice. This tree is so large that the village falls under the canopy of the tree. I mean, this is a massive. It's the biggest tree he's ever seen. Not just weirwood, just biggest tree he's ever seen. Yeah. It reminds me of like what a sequoia, like one of the in the redwoods. One of those huge trunks. Like that must be what it is. What did you get out of it, Teresa?
Well, the same as what y'all were saying, but how cool is it teaching the ravens to talk? I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, that would be something Sam would be doing. And of course, nothing is ever said for no reason at all. So himself saying, oh, he may come to regret that. I'm anticipating that will be paid off.
Oh, yes. I didn't think about it that way, but yes, you're absolutely right. Folio Society ones are gorgeous. Now, Stig it's funny because Stig, English isn't your first language. There's a word you said, and I don't know the definition of it. I know it's pronounced opine, but what does opine mean again?
Like thinking out loud, kind of?
Yeah, like opine, like to make an opinion, to like I'm going to opine about this.
Okay, I was wondering because I forgot the definition. I couldn't think of it. So you're actually thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Or
about
pining, or
opine, getting a thought.
Well, Stig knows English better than a lot of us, so.
Well, I didn't know that one.
Okay, well, how's this? I'm Googling it.
All right, you Google.
This is bothering me.
Well, maybe it is pronounced opine in English, but it's opine in American.
Yeah, at least in American, it's opine.
Yeah, we say opine. Hold and state as one's opinion.
Okay, Lasso of Truth says to offer an opinion.
Yeah.
Please. No, go ahead. I'm sorry, Teresa. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just reading out the sentence that showed the example. Like, he's a genius, the man opined.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. No. I didn't say Stig. Oh boy. Good one.
I gotta say something I noticed in this. So they're talking about the tree, all right, and they then talk about how those aren't sheep bones. And Mormont says, and an old tree. Mormont sat his horse, frowning. Old, his raven agreed from his shoulder. Old, old, old. And John says, and powerful. John, feel the power. I can't think of any other time in the story someone says they feel the power of the weirwood tree. And I wonder if John doesn't realize he's actually sensing something magical.
Well, it could be he doesn't, that he just says it casually, but because he's in awe of it. But
right.
And he's also been told that there are power in the weirwood trees all his life.
Yeah.
So that could be that it doesn't mean he senses it.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. I see what you're saying.
I do think that Onan's stories, though, maybe prepared the kids to make them extra aware of things that maybe other
Of
people
things
wouldn't
like
be.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, to some of them, like, and I love it because this is our first introduction to DoLiFiEd. I love DoLiFiEd. He just wants to cut the damn thing down, you know, and to John, you know, it's religion, it's spirituality, but it's also a power that he doesn't I just feel like he senses something maybe on the spiritual level. Maybe that's the point. Like, it's powerful because of not just the size of it, but just the meaning of an old tree like this. Like, it's their gods. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it too. They spent their entire lives praying under it, right? And now they see one that's massive and also frightening to look at. You would think that that's powerful. I mean, that's the representation of your god.
Yeah, but what an idiot thinking he would want to chop it down, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right. Well, like the first men, they started chopping them down until they made the deal with the children of the forest. It is interesting. They find the bones. I don't know if this is the first time we've seen actual bones near a weirwood, but it seems to be either sacrifice, an offering, or maybe like a burial. We don't know yet, but it's put into the tree itself, like the tree ate the body. I find that interesting too.
I'm thinking it's probably sacrifice.
Oh,
yep.
Like they tried to sacrifice someone to save themselves or something. It didn't work, and then they fled or got killed.
Right. No.
Also interesting that they mentioned Benjen again.
Yes.
That seems to happen regularly, and I don't think George Martin would have done that so often if we don't get to find out what happened to Benjen later on.
Right. I actually I didn't realize how much they keep talking about Benjen. I think that's a valid point, Stig. You know, I know
forget him.
Right. Like, we know they're going to search for him and his party or the people he was looking for, but they bring him up more often than I remembered reading it the last time. Let's see.
Yeah, they mention him in book 5 as well, I think. So it's been a steady thing.
One bird croaked my name was bad enough, said John, and Snow's nothing. Now this is Snow lowercase. Snow's nothing a black brother wants to hear about. Snow often means death in the north. Now, some of our theories, can snow mean death in the north?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, God, we can't talk about that, but we'll talk about that in the future. I got to highlight that, excuse me, or something. I got to underline that.
Uh-oh. Someone's going to get mad if you write in a book.
You're writing in... No,
I'm just marking.
You can't do that? Why?
This isn't a keeper book. This is my study book.
Yeah, that's a study book.
Yeah, I have no problem with it. I think it's fine.
No, if this was a nice book, I wouldn't.
I just cringe on the inside every time I see someone write or... Yeah, fuck that.
I'm going to put Stig was here.
That's hilarious.
There was something else I saw. We see Ghost. Ghost emerges from the undergrowth so suddenly that the Garen shield and reared. The White Wolf hunted well away from the line of the march, but he was not having much better fortune. And they try to say it's okay. We must have made too much noise, but it seems like there is nothing in these woods anymore.
The chat is turning on you.
Uh-oh.
Tina and Darren. Yeah. They understand. I'm promoting both of them to lieutenant.
Oh man. I think he did sense it. Martin writes things the way he does for a reason. I agree with that. Lasso of Truth. That means something. Heresy. Okay. Splitter. The anguish. No writing in books. This is my study book.
Yeah,
Right
I
there,
write
guys.
in books all the time, all over my books.
Get a blank sheet of paper and write your notes on that one.
This is my study book. This is going to be the book I go back and say, oh yeah, look at that. I'm sorry. I write in my book. But I
I'm
think
gonna
that's
go- I'm going to go make some tea, and when I come back, I hope that topic is blown away.
all right. I really do find it that saying though, snow and snow's nothing a black brother wants to hear about. Snow often means death in the north. I think that's going to
I love
mean
it.
something later on.
Snow's nothing a black brother wants to hear about.
Yeah.
I'm just going on from the TV show, of course, but I'm
Right.
assuming it's similar.
But
And
what's interesting, it's the beginning. Now, I understand they capitalize because it's the beginning of the sentence, but snow is capitalized in this one.
Mhm.
Snow often means death in the north.
Nice.
I think maybe when somebody reemerges, people in the north are effed. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I think that's going to definitely be important later.
Yep.
Okay.
Tina is also upset that you bent the book in half.
Now people are unsubbing, apparently.
I read it's a paperback. It's meant to bend like this. It's paperback. Isn't that the whole point of a paperback? So you can take the spine and do that with it?
I agree with you.
Unsubbed. Darren, like my father before. Unsubbed. I like that. Lasso Truth, that was on purpose. I agree. Darren Spork, what are you doing to that poor book spine? It hurts my heart, says Tina. I didn't realize this is an offense to people. I'm sorry.
I didn't either until I
didn't
ran afoul of the Scandinavian.
I know. Just let me Darren, let me tell you something. If you do unsub me, the book's gonna take the all right.
One sub, the book will get it.
Yeah, the book is look, I finally got past 265 for the first time in about 4 months. So do not unsub me, man. I will be pissed. I got past 1265 for the first time in months. Oh man. I have to and I hate it, but I have to thank Drunk 3PO for that, for being on the live stream the other night. If you did not see Saturday's live stream, please check it out. Drunk spent most of the time just ripping on me. It's a really good time.
It was a really, really good stream.
That was a lot of fun. I can't wait to get my new computer so I can actually keep up with people, because I would start talking thinking there was silence, but when I watched it back, like I am so like 2-3 seconds behind. I cut everybody off all the time. I hate doing that.
And they're all, damn you, Spork. How
get so mad
dare
at
you?
They do. They get so mad at me.
Nah.
What are you gonna do? Anything else with the John chapter?
No, I
I
mean,
don't think so.
not a lot there. It's a short one.
Yeah, it was a very short one. Nick, how are you, my friend? Hello, everyone. Hope you're well. If you guys aren't subscribed to Nick, he is awesome. He's on my my panels. Usually, it seems like every other week. It seems like now, either Saturday or Wednesday. So check out Nick and his brother Sam McCabe. Look for the mug. One has a beard, shadow. One doesn't, and you can try to figure them out. I could finally tell the difference by their voice. Took me a little while, but now I got it. It's okay. Nina cuts off people more than you. I'm clipping that part. Yeah. She is the worst. The worst. I thought it was me. I was like, I literally sat there sometimes and I go like this. Oh my God, no one yells at her. Am I worse than that? No one yells at her. Thank you, Tina, because I really was losing my mind over that one. I love her. Don't get me wrong, but Nina does gap a little bit.
Her ears are burning. Don't be talking behind her back.
Oh no,
Maybe we
let
should
her come.
send Nina a link.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
writing
I'll
her
send her a
right
link.
now. I'm tattletelling.
You let her know that, please. I'm only going to use a knife and a fork going forward. Look, man, a spork. When the apocalypse comes and the zombies are here, you're gonna want a spork in your life. Soon enough, I'm going to be selling merch, and one of my things is a customized spork. So just
That's
be
gonna be
prepared.
cool.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
that's
want to
very
be able to
useful.
sell sporks.
For like lunch,
Damn.
bring to lunch for work. If we don't have a zombie apocalypse, you can still use it for lunch.
Thank you. I agree. I do have a buddy who has like a new wave spork. So it's not like a spoon and fork in one. It's a fork on one side, a spoon on the other. It's pretty good. Shots fired. Yes, sir. Nina's great chat. Yeah, she loves to chat. I know what you're trying to say there, Nick. She's a pain in the ass to be too.
Dang.
All right.
What did I
Anybody
miss?
Oh,
Not
you
much.
missed some trash talking Nina for 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well,
Who anything left in this one, guys?
I don't think so.
well, like Jane said, it's kind of a world building chapter, and given that they're going to travel a long way, you'll get chapters like this. You get the same thing in the Daenerys chapter in the desert, because she finds an old city, and
Right.
John finds a village, and both are abandoned. So it's mirroring.
And both have bones.
Yeah.
Like old bones, not like dead a couple years. Like these are old bones.
Yeah.
So
and
that's interesting.
I bet you they happen at the same time.
Nick,
That
hey,
would be cool.
Nick, you're not trash talking anyone. Yeah, if they're happening, wow, that's fire and ice right there, man. If they're happening at the same time, that's a Song of Ice and Fire right there.
It's interesting, isn't it? And they're at the opposite ends. She's dying. Her people are dying from heat. Jon
Right.
Snow and the others are struggling with the cold.
Right. That's
I
interesting.
love it.
That is
Someone
really
should paint like those two scenes side by side.
right. Let me write that down in my book.
No.
Oh, no.
Oh, my bad.
Here
my
we
bad.
go again.
Here, look, I got my little notepad. My little
Oh,
sock
that's
monkey.
cute.
My daughter gave it to me.
Aw.
All right. So let's keep an eye out for the parallels between their chapters going forward. I'm wondering if we're going to catch a lot more. I mean, we have caught them before, but how much do they really parallel? Because you're right. They're both traveling through like a wasteland. There's nothing in sight for Dany in the desert, but there's also nothing in sight. They can't find food in the forest right now. And it's not because they're being loud. It's because something scared everything away. So in a way, it's like a desert. It's a snow desert, you know?
Yeah. And Daenerys and her friends are desperate for water. Jon is camping by a lake. Very interesting
Wow.
little.
Ooh.
Interesting. That's good, man. I didn't even notice that. All right. Anything else on this chapter, or do you guys want to jump on to Arya?
Oh, another thing. Daenerys is going to meet with 3 people from Karth. And
Right.
Jon is about to meet Corin Halfhand. So they're both about to meet someone too.
They're both waiting on somebody that's going to change their story.
Yep.
I like that. And you know what? In a way, Arya also. All right, we'll get into that afterwards. That's interesting, though. There is a lot of similarities, but polar opposites of their stories.
Fun thing that I noticed, tiny spoiler, You know, Craster. Craster's
Yeah.
home.
I love him.
The word Craster means crow's nest.
Really?
Yeah, in Old English or Welsh or whatever it is, Celtic.
In a way, it is a crow's nest.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought that was. It probably doesn't mean anything, but you know, it fits.
Right. Well, I think George took painstaking time to choose everybody's names,
You
the
know,
colors of their eyes. I mean, right from the get-go, in the very first, the prologue, right in the very first prologue of a Game of Thrones, it's very important, the eye color, the hair, the look of this man. We could talk about that.
oh yeah, and you know, Sansa is the name of an apple, which ties into my little theory way too well. Euron means gold in Welsh, I think. It's a Welsh word for gold. Very interesting. Someone might be betrayed for gold somewhere. And Dario means rich.
Well, there we are.
All of this
Dario means
food.
rich, and Euron means gold.
Hmm.
2-1, 2-1. Oh, I like what you're doing there. All right. Well, this is not a spoiler one, but that is a good one. I like that. That is something to think about. And just like our good friend Lasso of Truth, mind blown. Why don't we start with Arya? Who is reading Arya again? Is that you, Jayne?
It's me.
All right. Let us go with Arya.
She has an. If you thought I had to read a lot, yeah, poor Jayne.
Is
This
this
is like,
I
Oh,
read
God.
the long chapters
It's
all the time.
Yeah, you do.
yeah, well,
I'll probably.
yeah.
Well, no, it's
Yeah,
not
cut
too
it
bad.
up.
It's not too
Cut
bad.
it up if you need to. Okay.
The abandoned village of White Tree is dominated by the White Shoot. That's wrong. Sorry. That's Ari. That's John. Okay, here we go.
Good for John, though.
The river seems a peaceful place to Arya until Cos finds a soldier decomposing in the reeds. Jorn sends Dauber to search the body for valuables, and finding they cannot cross, he takes Cos upriver and sends Wath and Garen downriver to look for a ford. While they wait, Lami and Tarber go wading and throw mud at Hot Pie, while Arya watches Kurtz catch a fish with his hands, thinking it must be easier than catching cats. The scouts return at midday to report only a burnt bridge. Drawing a map in the mud, Jorn explains that the river flows south from the God's Eye. With no way to cross the river without abandoning the wagons, they cannot pass along the lake's western shore as planned, and going east will bring them back to the King's Road. Jorn decides to go north to where the river meets the lake, sell all they have to hire a boat in town there, and sail across the lake to Herrontown. There, they can buy new mounts or take a refuge at Harrenhal, the seat of Lady Shella Went, a known friend of the Night's Watch. Hot Pie worries about ghosts at Harrenhal, but Jorn only spits. Arya recalls old Nan's stories about evil King Harren and how Aegon unleashed his dragons to turn the castle into a pyre. Old Nan told that fiery spirits still haunt the castle, and sometimes men who sleep there are found burnt alive in the morning. But Arya does not believe the stories. It will be knights at Harrenhal, not ghosts, and she can reveal herself to Lady Went and maybe be escorted home. They pass abandoned cottages and untended fields to find the town deserted as well, which frightens Arya when she wonders what scared the people away. Growing apprehensive, Jorn leaves 10 recruits to guard the wagons and splits the rest up to search the town while he investigates the tower house. Wath once pulled an oar on a galley, so Jorn orders him to take Arya, Gendry, and Hot Pie and Lami to search for boats. The docks are empty, except for a rotten rowboat, and Arya realizes the people took all the boats when they fled. Lami and Hot Pie suggest they search a nearby inn for food and ale, but Wath insists on sticking to Jorn's orders. Despondent, Arya washes her face in the lake and wonders if she could swim all the way to Winterfell. Wath shouts at her to help search, so she does, but they only find some sails and nails. It's dark when Jorn returns to report the townhouse empty. He dismisses suggestions of patching the rowboat or building a new one, but he's intrigued by Gendry's idea of a raft. However, a raft would mean leaving the wagons and staying close to shore, so Yoren decides to sleep on it. Lami asks if they can stay at the inn, but Yoren chooses the holdfast for his protective wall. Arya argues they should not stay at all, since even the Lord ran away. Lami mocks her as scared, but Yoren declares her reasoning smart, except the Night's Watch takes no part, and nobody is their enemy. Arya thinks that nobody is their friend either, but she remains silent to avoid seeming craven. The holdfast is surrounded by a 10-foot wall of rough-cut stone with iron bars to brace the front gate. Besides the main gate, there's a postern to the north and a narrow tunnel that leads to the lakeshore hidden under the barn. Yoren has them park a wagon on the trap door to make sure nobody enters that way. He also assigns 3 watches and sends Tarber, Kurtz, and Kutchak to keep watch from the tower house, telling Kurtz to use his hunting horn if danger threatens. They drive their wagons and animals inside and bar the main gate. Darber, Gendry, and Arya draw cook duty, and Arya is set to pluck the goose and 2 chickens Koss brings in. Gendry splits wood and Yoren sharpens his dirk. Everyone is quiet during the meal, even Lami. Arya draws second watch, but when sleep proves difficult, she borrows Yoren's whetstone and hones needle instead. Hot Pie asks where she got such a good sword, more politely than before, and she admits her brother gave it to her. Hot Pie is surprised as Arya has never mentioned any brothers. Arya replies that she has lots of brothers, but when Hot Pie asks whether they are older or younger than her, she lies that they are all older, with long swords, and they taught her how to kill people who bother her. Hot Pie insists he was just talking, but then leaves her alone. Curling up on her pallet, Arya is annoyed by the crying girl, who is crying as usual. Arya dreams of a wolf howling and wakes at once. Pulling on her boots, she asks if anyone else heard anything. Lami mocks her for having wolves in her head, and Walt and Garrett assure her the wolves are safely outside. Arya insists there was a wolf, and before the others can shout her down, they hear Kurt's hunting horn. In a heartbeat, everyone is dressing and arming themselves, while Arya rushes to the gate. As she passes the barn, Jaqen H'ghar calls out for her to free the criminal so they can fight, but she ignores him. Climbing the parapet, Arya glimpses hundreds of men with torches setting fire to the town. Gendry asks how many there are, but they're moving too fast to count. Soon, a column of riders approaches the holdfast. Arya thinks their banner might be red, but the fires turn everything red, orange, or black. Reining up over the gates, a knight in spiked demands they open it in the name of the king. Rayson sarcastically asks which king, earning him a cuff from Wath. When Yoren explains that the town folks are gone, the knight suggests Yoren might be one of Beric Dondarrion's men, and the Thoros of Myr could be hiding with them. Yoren insists he only has some lads for the Night's Watch and shows his black cloak as evidence, but the knight's banner bearer insists it could be House Dondarrion's purple lightning bolt on black. Arya now recognizes the Lannister banner and remembers that Beric Dondarrion was the man her father sent out to behead Sir Gregor Clegane. The knight demands they open the gate, or be known as outlaws, but Yoren demands to know who is in command. A stout man with the manticore on his shield rides forward to introduce himself as Sir Armory Lorch, bannerman to Lord Tywin Lannister, and repeatedly order to open the holdfast in the name of the true king, Joffrey Baratheon. Yoren says it does not matter to him if they burn the town, but his band are not their foes and should be left alone. Arya is bewildered that the raiders cannot see that they are neither lords nor knights, but Gendry opines that they simply don't care. Looking at Sir Armory's face the way Syrio Forel taught her, Arya realizes Gendry is right. So Armory insists his men be allowed to verify Yoren's story, but Yoren senses a trick and refuses again. Lorch's men mock the old recruiter, and Lorch commands a final time to open the gate. Yoren considers for a long moment before refusing again. Lorch declares them rebels, be they Black brothers or not. Yoren informs Lorch that he has some young boys with him, but Lorch declares they will die just the same. He gives a languid signal, and a spear hurls toward Yoren, but kills Wath instead. Lorch orders his men to storm the walls and kill everyone. More spears fly, followed by torches. Jorn commands them to spread out and hold the walls. Arya finds herself next to Hot Pie, who panics and says he does not know how to fight. Arya lies that it's easy and pushes aside a sudden terror to scream Winterfell and hack at the first hand to appear on the parapet. Warned by Hot Pie, Arya forces the next climber back off the wall. Following her example, Hot Pie hacks the hand of a third. Sir Armory and his men have no ladders, but the walls are rough enough to climb, so there's no end to the foes, and each man they defeat is immediately replaced. Arya sees Jorn drive his dirk into the knight in the spiked helm and watches Koss shoot down 4 axemen attacking the gate. She sees the Lannister banner again and wishes Joffrey was present for her to stab. Dauber wrestles a man of the walk and Lamy smashes his head, yet Lamy's celebration is cut short when he sees Dauber's body with the man's knife in his belly. She hears Kyle beg for mercy until a knight with the wasp sigil smashes his face with a spiked mace. The smells of blood, smoke, iron, and piss blur together. Arya, Gendry, and Hot Pie wrestle a skinny man to the ground. Gendry breaks his sword on the man's helm, which falls off to reveal an old, frightened face. Arya feels sorry for the man, even as she and Hot Pie are killing him. Gendry takes the man's sword and leaps down into the yard, looking for foes. Arya notices more enemies have invaded the holdfast and follows Gendry, but then she's uncertain which way to go, since death is all around her. Suddenly, Jorn is shaking her. He declares that the battle is lost and orders her to gather as many survivors as she can and escape through the tunnel under the barn. Quick as that, he storms off again to rejoin the fighting. Arya grabs Gendry and explains the plan. They call Hot Pie down from the wall and Lamy bleeding from a spear wound in his calf. They find Garen too, but he's too seriously wounded. The crying girl will not walk even when slapped, so Arya has to drag her while the others race ahead. The barn is on fire when she arrives, and Hot Pie urges her to just leave the girl behind, but Arya stubbornly continues to drag her. Hot Pie abandons them and scuttles back inside, but Gendry comes back to hoist the girl over his shoulders. The barn feels like a furnace. The back wall is ablaze and the animals are kicking and screaming. Inside the wagon, Biter and Rorge struggle frantically to get free while Jaqen calls out to Arya in his friendly voice. The trapdoor is only a few feet ahead and the fire is spreading fast, which reminds Arya of the Hound's horrible burned face. Gendry wonders how to get the little girl through the narrow tunnel. Arya tells him to push her and asks where he left his axe. Eyeing the prisoner, Gendry says it's by the haven, but he would save the animals first. Arya tells him to go ahead with the girl and goes to get the axe. Outside, she sees Koss killed on the spot after he yields. There's no sign of Jorn, but the axe is where Gendry left it. As she wrenches it loose, a mailed hand grabs her arm. Spinning, she drives the axe up between the man's legs, then dashes back to the barn. With heavy smoke pouring out and the animals screaming within, going back into the barn is the hardest thing she's ever done. Inside, the roof has caught fire as well, and flaming bites of wood and straw are raining down. The smoke is so thick she can't see the wagon, so she crawls toward Biter's screams. Finding the wagon, she throws the axe in and runs for the tunnel. Rorge catches it and starts hacking at the wagon. Arya hears the wagon splinter just before she rolls headfirst into the tunnel. She drops 5 feet and gets dirt in her mouth, but she doesn't care. She has crawled only a dozen feet when she hears the barn crash, sending a cloud of hot smoke and black dust billowing up behind her, smelling of hell. She holds her breath and kisses the mud on the floor. Then she cries, but she doesn't know for whom. The end.
That is good stuff.
Wow. Yeah.
That is a good chapter. That is a good chapter.
That was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's action. That's action. What do you guys think? What about you, Teresa?
Well, absolutely, positively brutal, but realistic. That's the way it would be like, especially and noted the smells and the blood and the urine, and that there's nothing beautiful about fighting like that, like battles like that. It's just horror and
I don't know.
blood and guts.
I always thought it's very beautiful when you make people piss themselves.
I'm doing it right now.
Oh my god.
What?
Okay, I'm done. No, I'm shot. You know,
Wow.
George is definitely a anti-war guy. He has been. He's an outspoken against war. These are anti-war novels, and that's where people get it wrong. People think these. There's these massive battles, but every time he describes a battle, there's nothing beautiful about them. They're chaotic. They're vicious. They're deadly. They're gross. You know, I love how he explains battles, like, you know, somebody yielding and still gets his face crushed by a mace, you know, like just horrific stuff going on. And these are just little kids.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I love that she was awakened by a wolf's dream or wolf sound or wolf instincts or something. That was pretty cool.
She's definitely starting to sense something. I just don't think she even knows what it is.
But it was
right
cool.
now.
They were like, the wolves are outside the gate. No, they're inside there. That one is inside with you.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah. This is one of those chapters where we get to meet Amory. What's his name? The bad guy in this one, Amory
Lorch.
Say it again.
Amory Lorch.
Yeah.
Lorch. He is not in the show. He is as bad as the Mountain when it comes to atrocities towards people. He was the one that killed Rhaegar's daughter in the sack of King's Landing. Like, this guy is he's a horrific person. He's horrible in these books. I love it, but he's terrible. What do you think there, Stig?
Well, it's kind of like an event chapter. Everything goes to hell. Some exposition about Harrenhal and the state of I guess they're in the Riverlands at this point, or south of it. And some Jack and Hagar stuff that's gonna come back later. It's a little bit of a setup there, and little hints about the wolf stuff.
Yeah.
Other than that, you know, it just shows the horrific stuff of medieval battle. And like I said, I think it was last time or the time before, Arya is always surrounded by death. And she is, in my opinion, used as, you know, like a peephole for the reader to see how the world is affected by war. You know, the countryside, and you can see the people that left because the boats were gone. You know, all kinds of stuff like that. So it's a bit of a exposition chapter in that sense.
In that sense, yeah, I'll give you that. I agree with you that he is in the show. I didn't think he was in the show at all. It must be a very small role then, because I don't remember hearing about him in the show.
And when he killed the girl, he did it like stabbing her to death. It wasn't even like her or something. Like
it wasn't merciful.
Brutal. Yeah.
No.
Well, I guess he was that. Okay.
Oh, well, there we are. Yeah. So, also, I caught what was it? Hot Pie who was saying that the Harrenhal, you know, is haunted.
Oh, the ghosts.
Yes, and all the ghosts there. So we're already kind of getting prepared for what kind of a place it's going to be.
Yeah, and it's not far from the island that we've talked about before. The
the
God's Eye,
Isle of Faces. Yeah.
I'm thinking, given that it's that close, the supernatural activity in Harrenhal might be connected to that. It's just a little theory, though. I can't back it up.
Yep. Well, we also get a little old Nan in this one. Arya was remembering the stories old Nan used to tell of Harrenhal. Evil King Harren had walled himself up inside, so Aegon unleashed his dragons and turned the castle into a pyre. Nan said that fiery spirits still haunted the blackened towers. Sometimes men went to sleep safe in their beds and were found dead in the morning, all burnt up. Arya didn't really believe that, and anyhow, it had all happened a long time ago. So old Nan, once again, is pretty much telling you there is magic in Harrenhal. And what do we know about old Nan stories? There usually some truth, a lot of truth in them.
Yeah, and Harrenhal is where the Hound got his face burned too. So maybe whatever's messing up the place messed up his brother.
It was Harrenhal?
I think so.
I thought it was at their house when they were kids. Yeah.
My bad. I'm mixing it up with something else. But
yeah.
something's
Oh man,
going
that would have
on.
been cool.
Yeah, something's going on with the mountain though. While he's at Harrenhal, there's some mention of things.
Yep.
He's
coming
reacting.
up, right?
Yeah, he's reacting to stuff there.
Right. I do like how she keeps going back to her training. She keeps going back to what Syrio has taught her. How to look, see, like actually see what's there. Don't try to cover it up with emotions. Look and see what you're seeing. There's a part, where is it? Gendry whispered, and she looked at Sir Armory's face, the way Syrio had taught her to look, and she saw that he was right. She's remembering her teaching. She always goes back to that, back to what Syrio taught her, back to what Jon taught her, back to what, her father, always going back to what somebody taught her. And she gets better and better at what she learned from these people as the story goes on.
And it usually has to do with killing.
Yep. At least making her, killing, hunting, anything. Yeah, you're right. That's interesting.
I also caught that Arya was talking about the flames, about them being red.
Mm-hmm.
Red, seeing the fire, the red priestess, and all that stuff.
Right. You also get a House Dondarrion call out. Arya could see its colors more clearly now in the light of the burning town. A golden lion on red. Lord Beric's sigil is a purple lightning bolt on black field. At first, they thought it was their sigil, but they realized it was, the Lannister sigil. And she goes back to remembering Sansa. I threw an orange in her face and got juice all over her ivory silk gown. The thing about her is when she thinks back, so you got Arya, when she thinks back about Jon, it's always a kind, beautiful thing. Even with her sister, it's more of she regrets some stuff. But when Sansa looks back, it's fleeting. She doesn't even really think of her. It's whatever,
she literally forgets her at points.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder how much of the story up to here, when Arya thinks of Jon or Jon thinks of Arya, how much of it was going towards the idea of that love triangle he was first creating. Because when George set these books out, it was supposed to only be a trilogy. And there was supposed to be a love triangle between Jon, Arya, and Tyrion. So I wonder when she thinks of Jon, longs for the times they were together. Is that building up to that love triangle that he meant to have, but then he changed? I always wonder that.
What did you just tell me that he wanted Arya, Jon, and Tyrion?
Love triangle. Yep.
Was John still her half brother?
You know what? It kind of does let out some hints of he might not have been. But at the time, she believed he was her half brother. Yes, that's what at least we were told. There was also going to be a 5-year jump, so there was going to be a lot of stuff that happened between book 2 and 3. So
yeah,
That would still be
Yeah.
raised together.
That's
crazy.
You know what's interesting though? Beric's sigil is a lightning bolt. In all myths and legends and stuff, a lightning bolt symbolizes the loss of ignorance and also represents punishments of aloof humans from the gods.
right.
Which is interesting that Beric has that as a sigil.
Oh,
It's yeah.
And
that's pretty good.
Use him to enforce the law, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's wow.
Yeah, and it's
layers.
often in mythology, a lightning bolt is often a weapon that the gods use to as a weapon.
Right.
Also interesting.
Very interesting. I do love the part where she screams Winterfell, and like starts killing mofos. Like she is Arya Stark of Winterfell in this moment, and she's going to kill you. I love that. And Hot Pie screams behind, I even think, isn't there a part where he screams his own name? I can't even remember. And then you got Lamy crushing a dude's face in. Like, this is brutal.
little kids.
So good. So good.
I mean, this is their introduction of warfare, right?
Right.
So they have to.
And then you have what do you guys think about Jack and you have Biter and Rourke freaking out, and he's just like, boy, good boy, please help us, like, again, always with the boy.
yeah, because he knows.
Yep, he definitely knows.
Yeah, he's a little too
Yeah.
chill for.
Yeah,
But I mean, too, practically speaking, in that moment, remaining calm would calm her, so she can actually
Right.
hear what he's saying and listen and want to help, as opposed to freaking out.
yeah, that's actually very true. Do you think he could have just got himself out of there, though?
Easily. Easily.
They
I
were
don't
really
doubt
waiting for the last,
the-
right?
I think the entire time he was there because he wanted to be.
I agree with that. I mean, he could have escaped at any time, could have got out of there, but in a way, do you think he was testing Arya to see if she would free them?
I
Maybe
think that
that's
he's been testing her the whole time.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think we will learn a lot about that in book 6.
Right.
I think a hell of a lot of Arya pieces will fall into place in book 6.
And that
I can't
scene
wait.
too, where she had to go into that burning barn like that.
Right.
Was crazy.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
a
go
burning
underground.
barn. A burning barn is hot enough to give you hay fever.
Ah! I do love that ending part, though. Arya held her breath and kissed the mud on the floor of the tunnel and cried, for whom she could not say. We don't see what happens to Yoren
Yet.
yet. But he fought like a brave a warrior. Yoren is definitely a warrior. Anything else with this chapter you guys caught? Anything maybe we missed?
It was what 'twas.
It was what it was.
Well, Arya's whole story is almost like a road movie. She's always on the move, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
And
yeah.
I love the Arya chapters in this book. They're awesome.
I
You
do
know-
wonder what prompted the wolf dream, or what
Right.
what it was. Could it have been her wolf that saw these people coming and warning her? I don't know.
It has to be.
Maybe.
Right?
Or yeah, I don't know.
If-
Maybe yeah. Maybe the wolf,
It has to be her wolf. She
I
can't,
think it was.
like, I don't think she can dream of. Let's put it this way: she has a connection with Nymeria.
Mhm.
That is the connection. It can't be a separate wolf that she's dreaming into that we know of, at least. So, yeah, I believe they're closer than she realizes.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, I mean, Harrenhal. Let's see if we can see it here. That one's a little low. There we go. Very bottom of this.
yeah.
You have Harrenhal and the Isle Faces, the Riverlands, and this happened somewhere a little bit north of this, right? On the King's Road, which is going straight up. So somewhere in this general area, that's where Nymeria left. So it could easily be Nymeria. And thank God for that, because she needed the warning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got where are we? This is the same chapter, right? Yeah, Arya at the very beginning. It was midday when the others returned. Wath reported a wooden bridge half a mile downstream, but someone had burned it up. Yorn peeled a sour leaf off the bale. Might be we could swim the horses over, maybe the donkeys, but there's no way we've got those wagons across. And there's smoke to the north and west, more fires. Could be this side or the river, the place we want to be. He picked up a long stick and drew a circle in the mud, a line trailing down from it. That's God's eye, with the river flowing south. We're here. He poked a hole beside the line of the river under the circle. We can't go around west of the lake like that, though. East takes us back to the King's Road. He moved the stick up to where the line and the circle met. So pretty much he's like he keeps bringing up the God's eye. Gods be good, we find a win and sail across the God's eye to Heron Town. So they're very, even though Harrenhal's right there, they're even closer to the lake than we thought. So yes, Stig, supernatural things are definitely stronger near the God's eye. And maybe that is why she had such a connection in that wolf dream.
Yeah, and maybe that's why she has a very strong connection later too, because the wolf seems to be in that area all the time.
Right.
So maybe that's why her, little spoiler, why her wolf dreams are boosted later on. Right.
Darren, take care, my friend. You can check out the stream later. Thank you so much for stopping in, my brother. Yeah, I love this chapter. There's just so much that goes on. So vicious. But Stig, very good pointing out. You learn stuff, though. Anything else, Teresa? You got?
No, I mean, that's everything that I have. It's kind of one of those where you're just going, dang, damn,
right,
the whole time.
Right. Shit's going down. Yeah, you're right. Are you ready for our last chapter, which is Tyrion 3?
Yes, sir.
Whenever you are ready.
Okay, here we go, kids. Once upon a time, Cersei Lannister is furious upon learning that Stannis Baratheon is circulating letters accusing her of incest. The small council has 2 copies of the proclamation. One received by Maester Frenken at Castle Stokeworth, and a second received by Lord Giles Rosby. Littlefinger notes that if Stannis sent letters to them, every other lord in the Seven Kingdoms has seen a copy. Except I'm lost now. Has seen a copy. Cersei wants every copy burned so that neither her father nor Joffrey learns of them. But Tyrion Lannister points out copies have likely been sent to Harrenhal and Casterly Rock as well, and the secret is out. When Cersei rages that she is being accused of incest, adultery, and treason, Tyrion is impressed by her acting skills since he knows the accusations are perfectly true. He points out that such claims are to be expected since Stannis needs a pretext to justify his rebellion. When Cersei insists she will not be called a whore, Tyrion only thinks that Stannis never claimed Jaime paid her. Glancing back over the letter, Tyrion points out the strange words, done in the light of the Lord. Grand Maester Pycelle explains that it's a term commonly used in free cities, and Littlefinger notes that Varys, who is absent for reasons known only to Tyrion, reported years ago that Stannis' wife, Cersei something or other, took up with a red priest. Tyrion notes that this can be used as propaganda against Stannis. Cersei brings up the accusations again and urges an edict to suppress its dissemination. Tyrion points out that tearing out a man's tongue only proves you fear what he might say. When Cersei asks what he proposes, Tyrion suggests they just let people whisper until they grow bored. Without proof, many will see the letter as Stannis' pathetic attempt to justify his rebellion. Littlefinger agrees, adding that they should fight fire with fire by spreading a similar rumor that Shireen Baratheon is a bastard and Stannis a cuckold. Littlefinger proposes Shireen's fool, Patchface, should be called the father, to make the story more shocking. Pycelle exclaims that Lady Cersei would never bring a fool into her bed, but Littlefinger replies that one would have to be a fool to want to bed. I think I'm saying her name wrong. Okay, he adds that the fool's devotion to the girl and their similarly modeled half-frozen faces will enforce the tale. Pycelle protests that Shireen was scarred by grayscale, but Littlefinger notes the small folk are not known for their intelligence. Cersei smiles and calls Littlefinger wicked, and he thanks her. Tyrion recommends the news not come from them, lest it be seen as the self-serving lie it is, and Littlefinger suggests using whores and pot shops. Tyrion takes his leave, and when Cersei asks why, he tells her he is having a gift made for Joffrey, a little chain. Cersei reports that Joffrey has lots of chains, and Tyrion cannot buy his love. Tyrion replies that one day Joffrey may treasure this chain above all others. Bronn is waiting outside to inform Tyrion the smiths he summoned are waiting in his audience chamber. Tyrion compliments the sellsword that he almost sounds like a proper courtier and teases that he will be kneeling next. Bronn responds with, "Fuck you, dwarf." Tyrion counters with, "That's Shay's task." As Bronn escorts him back to the Tower of the Hand, Lady Tanda Stokeworth hails Tyrion, but he ignores her and gives orders for his litter to be prepared. In his chambers, he finds his timid squire, Podrick Payne, laying out his clothing and the hand's chain of office. Entering his audience chamber, Tyrion cuts straight to the point by presenting the assembled smiths with 3 links of an immense chain and commanding them to make 1,000 more. He orders every forge and every metal worker in the city to put to work making and joining more links and puts Godwyn Ironbelly in charge of seeing it done. The smiths immediately ask about the Queen's orders for armors and weapons and her threat of crushed hands for missing quotas. Tyrion assures them no hands will be crushed, thinking of the love Cersei is creating for them among the small folk. Ironbelly asks about supplies of iron and coke, and Tyrion promises Lord Baelish will see they have enough coin, while the City Watch will help them find and melt down every horseshoe in the city for iron, if required. Then an older smith, Solorian, complains that such work is only fit for common smiths, not master armorers like himself. He offers to make Tyrion a terrifying suit of plate instead. But Tyrion replies that he can neither make chains or wear them, and then departs. Outside, Bronn waits for the litter and an escort of black ears. As he travels, Tyrion muses that he set hundreds of carpenters to building fishing boats instead of catapults, opened the Kingswood to hunters, and even sent gold cloaks foraging to deal with hunger in the city. But people still give him accusing looks. He also reflects that Cersei missed the importance of Stannis declaring himself king, and wonders what Renly Baratheon will make of it. Peering out into the streets, he wonders who the informers in the crowd are, and decides they are likely the most innocent-looking ones. His destination is a 2-story brothel behind Ryan Hill. Inside, he is greeted by a tall, black-skinned woman who names herself Chataya. When Tyrion asks to see the girl, Chataya recommends a dark-skinned girl of 16 who turns out to be her daughter, Alawaya. In the Summer Isles, being a whore is considered an honor and pleasing to the gods. Tyrion wonders what the gods have to do with it, and just he would be much more religious if he could pray with his COCK. Leading Tyrion upstairs to the turret room, Alima directs him into a wardrobe where he finds a secret panel, and beyond that, a hidden shaft leading down to an underground tunnel where Varys waits in disguise. Tyrion asks if Chataya can be trusted, and Varys explains she has no love for the queen and is grateful to be rid of Al-Ardim. When Tyrion asks how the brothel came to have a secret entrance, Varys explains that the tunnel was dug for another hand who would not enter the house openly. Emerging into a stable, Varys helps disguise Tyrion as a child and saddle a horse to ride to Shae's manse. Tyrion tells him that Stannis has accused Jaime and Cersei of incest, and asked how he came by that suspicion. Varys responds that perhaps someone whispered it to him, or else he simply looked at the color of the bastard's hair, as Jon Arryn and Eddard Stark did. After all, each of the 8 bastards of King Robert that Varys knows had black hair regardless of their mother's color. Tyrion wonders if the whisper might have come from Littlefinger, but Varys refuses to confirm. After Varys helps him mount, Tyrion declares to Varys that he is either his best friend or his worst enemy. Varys replies that he feels quite the same about Tyrion. Dun, dun, dun.
Good stuff. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, who would like to start on this one?
Well, I just want to... Oh, sorry.
I made a note of something that they had tunnels dug for a former hand, so he could sneak into the whorehouse, unseen. All the former hands would be Jon Arryn or Tywin.
Yeah, how long ago? Does it say how long ago it was dug?
No.
It couldn't be that long, right?
Interesting.
I don't think.
Right, because it would be Jon Arryn. I wouldn't think so, but Tywin, that would be something he would do so he wouldn't be seen.
And
I don't think
it would tie into something later.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You're absolutely right. Yeah, because John Con kind of likes the boys, I think. That has to be it. That's a very good one. Oh, Fatal J up in the house. What up, Fatal?
Hello.
He's been learning about the lands outside of Westeros. Let me know what you mean by that. Are you talking about Essos? Because we could go over that for hours, man. I got a map hold on. I got a map of Westeros right here. And there's part of Essos, but I got maps of everything if you want to see it ever, man. And Lasso Truth thinks this was a great chapter. I agree. There's a lot of information dumped in this chapter. What do you think, Teresa?
Well, what struck me, of course, immediately is the quote I think we've all been putting all over Twitter and social media for the past month, which is when you tear out a man's tongue, you're not showing the world that that he is a liar, but rather that you fear what he might say. What a quote, and how apropos.
Right.
Great quote. And with some of the banning and censoring going on, of it's really made a comeback, that quote meme form. But man,
Yeah.
I just died when he was thinking he was thinking Stannis never said that he paid.
Yeah, that was
Right.
He paid you. I love it.
That
I
was
absolutely
so-
love it. I mean,
He was so wrong for that.
yeah.
I wonder if the madam of the house, if that daughter, is there something about them that goes deeper? I can't remember. Because don't forget, like some of the horrors we learn about in Essos and stuff later on have something that relate to somebody's stories.
Are you asking if something goes deeper in the hookers?
Wow.
I set myself up. Yeah, I set myself up for that one.
Yeah, they're
Mocking
all on somebody's
brother.
payroll,
Right.
literally.
Or
And more
could
than
that
one
be
way.
somebody's child? But could that be somebody we know's child?
Like
I
yeah,
would
the
think,
bastard.
especially when they have that kind of wealth, you have to wonder.
Being well looked
People are
after.
taken care of. Right. And if there was a tunnel dug there years ago and it's a wealthy whorehouse taken care of really well, could it be, I don't know, a Lannister child? You never know. I always wondered that one about that girl.
Could be.
Yeah, she's about 16 years old, a little older than Rob,
That would be when Tywin was hand of the king.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Something to think about.
Mhm.
I do like how Cersei's anger made her miss the most important part of the letter, is that Stannis proclaims himself king also, so that now the brothers are going against each other. She doesn't even realize that. She just sees the lie and wants to get rid of it,
Yeah. Like, how dare you?
Yeah, she doesn't think big picture wise.
Right.
Yeah. As far as the stuff with Varys, was Varys the one that leaked it out? That's what I kind of felt. It's like, who whispered it, whatever, to. And it's like, well, maybe he was the one that let Stannis know.
No, it was Ned.
Well,
oh yeah,
I thought it was John Aaron. John Aaron.
Well, but I thought that he
Stannis
said-
kinda did it together.
Well, that's what he
Yeah.
said. Okay, I guess, or maybe not.
No,
But
what do
I
you
thought
mean
that-
though?
Well, but he had said, like, well, who told Stannis about that? And then he's like, oh, maybe it was Littlefinger or something.
Well, Master Pycelle always tries to throw the eunuch under the bus. He can't stand him. So I think that's why they threw that out there. But I believe Stannis that's a valid point, because why would John Aaron start searching that out unless someone pointed him in the right direction?
Mhm.
Exactly. That just the way, almost a hunch, just the way it was worded made me think,
Mhm.
dagnabbit, Varys was behind some of that.
Yeah, no, that's valid. I like that. Well, from what we know about what he's trying to do with the Seven Kingdoms right now, it would be beneficial for him to start causing some havoc. So, yeah. And Lasso of Truth says it had to be Varys.
I'd say it's Varys or Littlefinger, because Littlefinger wants chaos.
Yeah. And I
So
could
it's-
see,
It's one of the two, though.
yeah,
Right.
just pulling one of those, like, hey, John, you ever notice that kid's hair is different color
Right.
and all the bastards? Just
Right.
something as simple as that.
No, that's valid.
I mean,
I like
Varys
that.
is the one who basically explains everything to Tyrion.
That's true.
He seems the discovery of this seems to be part of his agenda.
It
Yeah.
was Pycelle, though, who gave Ned the book, wasn't it?
Well, he got it from
He got
Pycelle.
it from him, yeah.
He got it
didn't-
from him, but he heard about the book because he inquired about what Aaron had been reading.
Mhm.
Right, exactly. And Pycelle's didn't want to give it to either one of them, it seemed like, when that part came up. So, I mean, Pycelle's is definitely a Lannister man.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that one. Let's see, what else was there that I saw I found interesting? Yeah, he knows everything. It's amazing.
I'm actually surprised it wasn't more apparent, given, I mean, I know the Targaryens have different hair colors, but they have a stereotypical look. And for the Baratheons to claim that lineage and still have black hair, someone might have wondered why their children, or why his children, didn't have black hair.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the more I seem to be reading this, it looks like it was an open secret that everyone knew except maybe Joffrey.
Yeah,
no one had the
it
nerve.
does seem like everybody knows that Jaime and her were Joffrey, and even maybe Tywin, or Tywin just is in denial.
Yeah,
think even
I'm just
Joffrey
saying that it just doesn't seem like everyone's like, oh, that's shocking. That's the most far out thing we've ever heard that they could have been screwing. It just seems like everyone's like, yeah, well, hey, squirrel over there. They just always seem to be looking the other way when it comes up.
Right. I do like how they bring up Dorne. Oh, wait a minute. Am I in the right chapter? Hold on. Yeah, right at the end of it. Aren't they talking about Dorne?
Maybe.
Nope. I am in the wrong Tyrion chapter. I'm sorry. I jumped way ahead. All right, here we go. My bad. That's a good chapter, the next Tyrion one. Yeah, there, at the end of the Tyrion one, there was something I wanted to touch on. Tyrion shook his head. If she had borne only one child for her husband, it would have been enough to disarm suspicion. But then she would not have been Cersei. If you're not this whisperer, who was? Some traitor, doubtless. Varys tightened the cinch. Littlefinger, I name no names. Tyrion let the eunuch help him mount. Lord Varys, he said from the saddle, sometimes I feel as though you are the best friend I have in King's Landing, and sometimes I feel like my worst enemy. How odd. I think quite the same of you. So I do like how even Tyrion's like, if just one of the damn kids was his, Robert's, and had black hair, people would be like, okay, but you can go back in the records and see all his bastards, why they were all killed for that reason. None of them have blonde hair. No one in that family has ever, and they've had Targaryen blood in that Baratheon family, and still the kids had black hair.
It just shows how dumber than a rock in many ways Cersei was, because there's been lots of women that have played that game of, the kid was premature, all sorts of stuff. And just suck it up, lay back and think of England, and just have let aside her hatred for Robert go and just bear one kid. No, she was so bitter she had to abort one of the kids. And it's just like, well, if she'd have done that.
That's in the show. It wasn't in the books. No. She never aborted one of his kids.
It was in the book. In the show, she actually had one of the kids and it died. Here, that she said that she got, a medicine or whatever. The abortion was in the books, and it was just like, it's like, woman, are you dumb? It's like, that would have been the smart thing, the calculating thing to have done. And she wouldn't have been the first woman to have played that game.
But you have to understand, too, she has the desire to perpetuate a pure Lannister line. So it wasn't just, she wanted to perpetuate a pure Lannister line. She wanted to perpetuate a pure Lannister line. So it wasn't just, she wanted to perpetuate a pure Lannister line. So it wasn't just, she wanted to perpetuate a pure Lannister line. So it wasn't just, she wanted to perpetuate a pure Lannister line. So it wasn't just, that she loved him and happened to get pregnant, she wanted pure Lannister children. Period.
Yeah, she definitely decided after her wedding night that Robert Baratheon was not gonna have a child through her. And when he died, the Lannisters would be and that's why look at, anybody who took the throne after somebody died, they're still considered a Baratheon, but for some reason, they changed the sigil now it's a lion and a stag. Instead of Joffrey just being a Baratheon, he's a Baratheon Lannister. So she's getting what she really wanted, and Tywin's getting what he wanted. I do like this.
The Lannisters took over the city. They control everything. They're all the soldiers. They control the wealth. I mean,
Ned always said that, right?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, something
could have been a Lannister. I do like this. That makes a lot of sense. Even his name sounds like a Lannister name. Lancel, Myrcella, Pycelle. That makes a lot of sense. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Teresa. I cut you off.
Oh, no, that's fine. No, that was a great point too. I was just musing upon the fact that what you said about after the wedding night, how might history have been different if Robert had just yelled out Cersei?
Yeah.
It's like one climax changed the whole course of history.
Or he treated her like his wife.
Cersei said the minute that he yelled out, Lyanna in the bed, that was it for her.
Like that's what I'm saying. It's like he couldn't give up his thing for his duty.
Exactly.
He just couldn't do it.
Bunch of selfish people. My gosh.
Well, kings are very selfish in general, but he was the type, like, even if Lyanna lived, he would have done the same thing to her that he did to Cersei. It's that she died. He created this snapshot of her who she truly never was. And Cersei can never live up to that, ever. He just needed to give Cersei a little bit, and he never did.
Yeah,
never did. Bone. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And look at the world now of Westeros. It's in chaos because of it. He should have killed her years ago. Oh well, what are you gonna do? Anything else in these chapters with Tyrion?
And they said that he noticed the children. I don't think he cared. I don't think he cared at that point. He probably thought they were the children of some other Lannister. I don't know if he thought that she was sleeping with his brother. But he could have very well thought those.
He would have killed them both. He would have killed them.
Yeah, he wouldn't have put up with that.
He's a jealous man. That would have been a slap against his pride if he found out the children were her brothers. He would have had to kill Jayne.
Yeah, I don't think he thought.
When Ned said Ned was worried about the children, worried that they would all be killed.
Yeah, and the incest bit would have reminded him of Targaryens.
Yes.
That would have pissed him off even more.
There's that part.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, maybe they are Targaryens. Who knows?
And I don't even understand the anti-Targaryen thing when you're a Targaryen yourself. That's just weird.
Yeah.
It's one thing to not like that branch of the family, but he had a thing against all Targaryens at this point.
Like the death of a Dornish princess and her children, he thought nothing of.
Nothing.
Yeah, but Targaryens. They're Targaryens way back, though, aren't they?
No, only one generation removed. His grandmother was a Targaryen.
Yeah, but he's
the original Baratheon, you're saying, was like a bastard brother. Yeah, of a Targaryen king. Of Aegon. I think it was oh God, what was his name? Not Thoros. Yeah, I forgot too, but the original Baratheon line he's a bastard of. Yeah, so they are Targaryens. They're bastard Targaryens.
Don't you mean bastard?
Bastard.
Bastard. He's a bastard. Let's see what the free folks say here. He says, was Grand Maester Parcell a Lannister before he went to the Citadel? We don't know, but it
it's like it.
He is definitely devoted just to the Lannisters. And another monster has a great point. His name even sounds like, because think about all their names. Brandon, Ned, Lyanna, those are very northern names. Tywin, Marcella, Joffrey, Lancel, Pycelle, they all have that Lannister sound to him. So I wouldn't doubt him being a Lannister. I've heard that before, but I never thought of it as much as I did just now when he wrote that, because it makes a lot of sense why his loyalties are to Tywin. He could be a cousin, something like that. They're about the same age.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with Varys, though. Ends with is. Sounds like, Aerys, Viserys, Daenerys.
Yep.
Yes,
He definitely could be. Oh yeah, he definitely could be a Targaryen, not just a bastard version of them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and that would explain the blood magic done to him, because he would have king's blood, wouldn't he?
Blood. Yeah,
and maybe that's why he shaves his head.
Well, because he probably didn't before that, and that's how he got noticed.
Maybe, or maybe he's been bald since he was a kid.
Oh,
Interesting.
I like it.
I can't unsee that now. Thank you.
He does wear the same. He's the only other person that wears that hat, that one type of straw hat. So
I know. I'll tell you, if it turns out not to be, then I'll be like, man, I just got brainwashed for nothing.
Yep. I like it, though. I like it a lot. Anything else with this chapter, guys? Or should we start rounding it up?
Does anyone think Littlefinger is something special? Or is he the only regular person in this game?
I think his family comes from Essos, from Bravos. And I think he has connections still with Bravos. And he's doing things for Bravos, for the Iron Bank, for the Sea Lord. I think there is a connection, but not a hidden Targaryen or a hidden this or that. Because there are a lot of people that could be in disguise in this story.
Yeah, it just seems like so many people. It really does feel like it's these families fighting each other in different forms.
Right.
And then if
They're all
he's
related?
representing, one big family feud, and he's an outlier from the East, I guess.
Yeah.
Something struck me, though. George Martin is anti-war, right? Well, every war has a war profiteer. And I think that's kind of what a Littlefinger is.
Yeah. Chaos is a ladder. I mean, that's one of the greatest lines from the show. I love that line. Chaos is a ladder.
Yeah.
He truly thrives and grows because of war.
That's the line people should be quoting. All this chaos going on in the world today. Think about his benefiting.
Ain't that the truth?
Yep.
Dang. That's good.
Yeah, now they're taking half of the ravens away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. It's literally true.
It literally is. It literally is. Oh God. I you know what? In Canada's the wall. I might have to go up there. All right. Well, I don't have anything left. You guys?
Nope.
No, I think we covered it. I mean, good stuff. Learned a lot again. Learned a lot.
Yeah.
These are the first 3 set that I don't feel like there is a easily seen thread going through them. They're very different. What do you guys see? Anything that's in common with the 3 separate chapters?
Not with all 3, but
no.
I guess Well, in all 3 chapters, you get to see each character kind of shine because they're coming into their own. Arya is really competent. Tyrion absolutely is, and Jon is well, he's certainly not doing poorly when he's above the wall, no, north of the wall.
Yeah.
So,
I think with Jon and Arya, you see them having that sort of supernatural experience.
Yeah.
yeah,
There's definitely something going on in both those chapters, supernatural. Arya ends up in a tunnel. Tyrion finds a tunnel. Maybe there's something underneath that tree through the mouth. Maybe there is something more. I don't know. I do love how in all these stories there. So I love the history that just kind of gets put out there. Like, this is kind of off topic, but the tunnel systems and these underground like cities of Westeros don't get enough talked about. I mean, there's caves and tunnels under Lannisport. There's caves under Winterfell. They call the crypts now. There's tunnels under Molestown. There's tunnels under the wall. Like, these
Storm's
people
End.
lived underground because of the long night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's just
There was
thrown
a
in there.
catastrophe. Yeah. Just
Oh, and
sprinkled in there.
can I do a little spoiler?
Yeah, please.
It's not really plot related or anything. In one of the books, Varys tells Tyrion that he's been below the catacombs,
Right.
in King's Landing, and he says, if people had seen what he saw, they would shit themselves. So there's something
Even worse than wildfire, you think? Because I always assumed it was Cash's wildfire.
Yeah, but he said it was below the catacombs or something. It was deeper than anyone. So they wouldn't store wildfire that deep because it would lose its effect.
Right.
So there's something down there, and I don't know if it's not wildfire. It's something.
Could it be a dragon?
Maybe a sleeping dragon. Maybe a.
The children said they went below the earth and they were able to find tunnels everywhere.
Yeah, and every time Varys has gotten information, he says one of his little birds told him. That doesn't necessarily have to always be the poor kids, right? It could be children of the forest communicating with birds because they do that.
Yes.
So he could be literal.
Wow.
Dang.
You just made my brain blow up.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't think of that, man. His little birds aren't all children. They could be actual birds.
Which is why he knows everything that's going on at the wall and all that.
Snow. Yeah.
Yeah, because the only one who's sending ravens from the wall is Maester Aemon. And so unless it's him that's kind of a spy, then nobody else would be able to.
I'm telling you, that goes back to my original theory, which everyone in all different walks of this fandom says has been proven wrong. And I still don't believe it, though, that when Bran was in his coma, yes, he was, can I say this? I don't know if I should go there. But let's put it this way. A certain someone that met him or came in his dreams came and spoke as a weirwood tree. Okay, that's the guy who's under that weirwood tree. Mm-hmm. But there was also a crow. And when we come up to that chapter, we are going to read that part very, very clearly because he never understands when Bran asks him, "Are you the three-eyed crow?" The three-eyed crow is somebody else. Could it be Varys? Could it be somebody else who is trying to enter? Could it be Euron? Someone trying to enter Bran's dreams and cause his opening, but also distort what the weirwood tree is trying to tell him.
Or
Does that
could
make
it be
sense without me spoiling it?
Could it be the great other?
That's what I'm saying. Or yeah, the great other, or somebody who works, represents the great. I don't know, man. There's so much that it could be. I can't wait till we get to that chapter.
Something's off about the great other, though, because only the red priests talk about the great other. Nobody else has ever heard of him. Not even Nan.
Right. She's never said it, has she?
Yeah, no wildlings either.
Huh. That's good stuff, man.
It's only from the red priests.
I like it. All right. I got to get up early, so we're going to end this stream. Good conversation, though. How about thank you to the chat? Definitely. What a great chat tonight. Yeah, really great chat. Teresa, would you like to do an outro and tell everybody where they can find you and what you're working on?
For sure. You can find me at Miss Martin Muses, where I talk about what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. I have a new review up. I just saw for the first time The Hateful Eight. So you can check that out. And of course, there's shenanigans with felines and just anything else that's good and fun. And you can find me on Twitter, Teresa2_Martin. And Tyrion is great at finding tunnels.
Yeah, he really digs it.
My cat. Yeah.
I've been muted that whole time. I was saying nice things about you, Teresa, and everything.
Oh my gosh!
I can't believe I just did that. I literally was saying like such nice things. But thank you for being here. You're a great panelist, a good friend, and I appreciate you. That was the Cliff Notes version. And,
darn it. I wanted to hear nice things about me. It's okay. Go,
Well, just know they've been put out in the cosmos. I said them. Jayne, you were up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, where I post movie and television reviews and pop culture commentary. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jayne Theory.
No parlor? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I think they're making a comeback soon, though. Yeah, right. Sir Stannis Kenobi, the one true only Baratheon king.
Hi. Yeah. I'll be on maybe I'll be on the trivia thing on Geek Blends today. That's always fun. And other than that, I'm on OG Star Wars' channel on Thursdays for the coffee chat, where we talk about Star Wars lore, basically. We're going through the old comics, 2 or 3 at a time, and it's been a blast so far. And on Mondays, when I'm awake, I'm here.
And I love it. I appreciate you being here, brother.
I seem to spend most of my time talking about literature of some sort on YouTube, actually. Now that I think about it.
You really do. You really do. And you're good at it. That's why I love having you on, man. It's always fun.
Thank you.
It's so hard not talking about stuff with you because we know the story inside and out. We're trying not to spoil, but we got to do a theory. I want to do a theory panel maybe next week or the following week. Yeah,
you know what would be a topic? That thing, with Euron, Patchface, and Bloodraven, and that whole where they might connect with a lot of characters.
Well, let's talk about it in the DM and see if we have enough stuff to do one of those, because we haven't done them in a while. A theory one. We could take a break and do a theory one, or maybe do next week a couple more chapters, and then the following. We'll figure it out. But thank you for being here, guys. Awesome chat. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for being here tonight. You guys really, I appreciate it. Hanging out with us. It's always a smaller stream on Mondays, but it's you guys are always involved, and I really appreciate it. But pass the word around it. People like Song of Ice and Fire. Let them know about this stream. Also, Wednesday we have the Humpty Dump, and Saturday we have the official dump. So please make sure you guys check that out. 7:30 p.m. Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you check out all the Rogue channels and the Rogue episodes. And that's about it. That's about it for us tonight. I want to give a special shout out to my members, and mostly a definite shout out to Tina Bojan, Who Knew, Jack D, and Toxic Man Flu. They are my Littlefinger level patrons, and I appreciate you guys. And this is for the rest of you. Have a great night, guys. Put a spork in it. We are done.